Welcome to
Grab Life by the Horns.
Powered by Legacy Builders Global, and we are Jennifer Pecan and
Jan-Mark Pecan.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Grab Life by the Horns. Today we are talking about how you can turn everything into a win, even if you fail. And we heard this phrase and thought, well, actually,
great topic.
That's a great topic, and I'm sure that most of you don't believe that you can do this actually. And today as well, we were on Clubhouse, and we had a room based on, but now I don't know the word in English for Glaubenssätze. So maybe
basically, the phrases and little lies you tell yourself.
Okay, so basically your mindset, and the little secrets, what tells you how your life will look like. And that we can manage everything in our life based on what we think and what we believe in. And that's the same with, I don't want to say failures, but let's say how you can turn everything into the win, even if it seems that you fail in the first place. And Mark, what do you think about this topic?
I would talk about failures. And I would name them failures, because sometimes you fail and sometimes you fail big. But
what is sometimes we win?
And sometimes we win big.
Okay, good.
And no, but it's honestly, if you I struggle with this because one of my bosses, he always said, like, when I came and I said, we have a problem, he said, I don't like you call them problems, we like to call them challenges around here. And yeah, you can do that, but it doesn't really change anything. If you have a problem, you need a solution. If you have a challenge, you need a solution too.
So, yeah, but it makes something in the brain. So if you have a problem or if you have a challenge.
Not for me. Anyway, but...
I disagree on this point.
Okay. Taken, but not considered. But the point is, if you fail, there is no problem in recovery. There are very few failures that you can't recover from, right? And those usually those are the ones where you die, and then you don't care. But if you lose money, there is like, yeah, you can lose money. You can, even if you go bankrupt, then you still can recover from a bankruptcy. Yes, it's not easy and it might be very hard. It might take years or maybe a decade to recover from it. And I'm not saying that like it doesn't take long to recover from some failures, but it's not impossible to do so if you want to. And even if you never fully recover, like let's stay with the bankruptcy, if you go bankrupt and you never really can recover from it in a like that you hit it financially big again, but you can recover and can take a different path and still have a happy life. So I think this is the point that you have to have in your mind, that when you are on the way to recover, or when you realize that you failed, that's not the end. And I heard also, because we're having an author on Sunday in our Clubhouse room. And she's coming out of like the musician type of environment where they used to do big concerts and all of the time. And now with 2020 and the pandemic, everything's basically is closed. And apparently there are a lot of musicians, but also artists in general, that are really struggling mentally, and apparently a lot of them have committed suicide because they weren't able to play the instruments, to have the tours, and are also financially struck. And if I don't want to make it seem like suicide is not a topic, okay, but there is usually always a solution, and it's not, I don't think that it's necessary to go that way, because you can recover. You, even if you have to understand, for me personally, a failure, and even if you have a problem or roadblock or challenge, however you want to call it, it's a temporary thing. You fail, and that's a temporary defeat maybe, and you might feel defeated and you might feel like nothing goes your way, but it's really, if you put it into perspective, it's temporary, and with the perspective you need to shift your mindset in order to recover from it.
That's a really interesting thing, because when you talk about failures, so first of all, I would not say Corona is a failure or like turns into the failures. It's just like a situation nobody thought about it can happen, and this is not our failure that it happens. It just happened to everybody, and we have to. And some of them are able to shift around, and others are not, because they are like in a situation they cannot, like the artists are really like that they have really less chances to.
They're screwed, because there is a lot that's not possible anymore.
Exactly. But with this topic, I thought there's going into another direction, to be honest, because like for me, I thought like when we name it on the small scale, I would say, well, for example, if you have the PR and you get a bad PR on your like topic in all the newspapers on your person because something happened, it's a failure. But you can change it into a win, use this negative publicity into a win somehow. This is for me something about this topic, like about the artist and their financial situation in Corona. It's
a different one. Okay.
It was not my intention like when we talked about this topic today. But as well, and initially when we choose this topic, we heard something that basically Trump is, even if he failed now this last election, that he is basically like preparing for the next win, and he is able to turn this into a win. So I'm really looking forward to see how this will look like. But as well, I think like if a failure is nothing different than you go your way, you be on your path, and there is a barrier, like you just like you got stopped and you cannot go there anymore. So you have to find another way around or jump over or whatever, but you cannot continue like you actually planned to do because something struggled, or like you had to go back, or you know, like you have something which you did not plan, and what brings you not on the fastest way to your goal, what you have in mind. And that can, like if you, for example, if you train on a mountain and there is something like, you know, maybe if you're climbing and you fell down for a bit and then you have to go back like a part of that again. This is for me like a failure, but at the end you can do to turn it into really best. Or maybe if you fail down and you fall down, you find even a better way to go up. This is for me like the win situation. So how you can turn a fail into even better situation. Meaning in business perspective, for example, like I said with the PR. If you get worse publicity, how you can make this. And funny enough, I'm watching at the moment a series, and it's and this special part was about a fashion designer, and he had a failure because like other fashion designers took in a show his dress to make publicity for their own. And so they built their win on his fail, and he was totally like destroyed, had no like really was like, and how artists sometimes are like totally demotivated and didn't want to go to the next, until he get another creation. And then because it was too late for this fashion show in Paris, he had to think in a new way, and the inscenation was like amazing. It was like he did a totally new fashion, how do you say, show with totally different dresses he had not before, like in a totally different direction, and his whole show were on a different base, on a different scale, because he could not go back because he cancelled everything. So, and he had even a better publicity, and he had more attraction on his fashion than he would have before, because it was so out of norm that that he basically turned his fail. Well, it's fail always like with this, like
brackets.
Yeah, brackets, that into a real win. And I think there's so many things outside, and if you open your eyes around, surrounding you, what happens, that you can turn a fail into a real win.
Yes.
You have some examples like that maybe in mind as well.
Is if you look at failure from a different perspective, because if one of the prominent examples that's always used is Thomas Edison, who needed over 1,000 tries to create the light bulb, and when people said you failed 1,000 and whatever 36 or how often he failed times, he said, no, I successfully found out what does not work 1,000 and whatever times. And this is the difference. Is like failure is somewhere where your life teaches you something, that this thing is not working, it's not meant for you at this particular moment. Could be like 2 hours later, a year later, it might actually work. But at this particular moment, at this particular stage in your life, in your career, in your business, whatever you did was not the right thing. And that's why you failed. And this is just like, you have to accept that life is maybe teaching you a lesson there. The universe is teaching you a lesson, however you want to call it. And you can see it in a way that you successfully found out that this does not work. I mean, it's like when you, for example, when you introduce a CRM program, so a customer relation management program, where your client data is stored, and you put the program into use, and then you realize, like 3 months, we had that, right? I mean, that's a real life example. And 3 months later, you realize that program is not adaptable to your business. It's a learning. You successfully realized, okay, I introduced it and it was painful because it took time to do it. And then we had to rewind and go back and use a total different one because, and it was even more work and more expensive to then shift to another one. And this is the thing, is sometimes you have to understand that in order to find out that something is not working, you actually have to do it and fail at it. Because if you would not fail, you would do it, right? And this is the thing. This is like where we were struggling with the CRM. I saw that in my career. Sometimes it's also if you take a job, okay, very often if you take a new job, in order to find out that it's not the right company, that your manager is maybe and the HR department are maybe better in selling the company or selling the position than what it really is, you have to actually start the position. So don't be devastated if like 3 months into the position you think you are failing because the position is not how it's like how you imagine it. It's not a failure. You just found out that the company doesn't work for you, or your boss is a terrible person, and you didn't realize that and it's very hard to realize it obviously in an interview situation. And so you found out that does not work, and then you just correct the failure. But what you learned is that maybe there were some tells along the way in the interview process where the HR department or your future boss or a coworker you talk to has given you a hint, a little phrase, a few words that right now make a lot more sense. So when you hear those words the next time, you will probably say no thank you to that job.
But it's the same, like if we talk about partners, if we talk about like friendships or like maybe different business categories. And what I had to say as well, like for example, you brought it up, like the situation with Corona. For a lot of people and for a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs, Corona showed them the right way, and we were one for them, because
Yep.
like and I would not say that we did failures before, or we had a lot of failures before, but Corona showed us as well, because we were forced to see our business from the other perspective and to get up and make some new things happen.
Yep.
That was it showed us basically how not productive we were in the first step, and it opened us for us a totally new potential and perspective, which was really good for us. So I'm sure like we are not the only ones there, because I think a lot of people, they're sometimes they got an idea and they follow this through. And like we are as well really disciplined and very ambitious. So doesn't matter how painful it is, we push through if it's needed. And we did this, and we said, well, it's just a matter of time. We push through. And then because of the circumstances, we had to find another way, what showed us a totally different level, a totally different perspective and potential. And we might never go back directly to this model we had before, because it was just not productive in the way it was, and now it's way more productive than we had before. So you can turn, like if you want to say Corona is a failure, or like it turns for some people, some like business owners, into a failure because they could not stand it. For the other side, there are business owners and entrepreneurs, it's the totally other way around. They take this and run the business even better than before. They would not run this business like without Corona.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you see it on all. How often have companies failed to actually implement work from home policies?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is so profound, and a lot of companies struggled with that, and for years we can't do it, it's not gonna work. I mean, all kinds of things. The IT doesn't work. We don't have the right servers. We don't have the infrastructure. People will not know how to do it, and nobody will work when they are home. Everybody's gonna be basically on vacation, and look at it. I mean, we're now a year almost to date into it, at least in Europe, and it's crazy. It actually worked, and like life didn't stop. Like a lot of companies strived with it. People became more productive. They handled the kids in parallel. Like everything we thought we can't do happened.
Yeah.
Because we had to. And I think this is sometimes also
And we had to focus on.
And we had to focus on it, yeah. But this is sometimes, I think, also the thing is that if you have to do something, you will not allow yourself to fail. And what I mean with that, and then you can take that over, is permanently fail. You will allow yourself to fail on the way, but you will, like for us, the goal is financial freedom and building multiple companies, building multiple streams of incomes, helping like our investors globally to invest, to become financially free as well. And we, because of like this big why and drive and vision, will not allow ourselves to fail. Do we fail on the way? Yes, very often, probably daily. But it's like we learn, we get up, we dust ourselves off, and we continue. So I think there's a huge difference between failing permanently and just failing along the way.
That's right. And what you just told, like, you have to, like, if you have to, you make it somehow. And this is why, like, where coaching comes into place and mentors or like accountability partners, and where this makes sense, because for example, like, we told our coach our goals for this year, like what we do every year basically.
Yeah.
And it has a different drive because you focus on that. You don't want to fail at the end of the year and tell him or her, we did not make it. Why? Because we did not focus on it. If you announce something, you are focusing on that and you make it happen somehow. And this is a lot of when I work with partners or people, they want to become a partner, and they set up a goal. It's like, are you committed or interested? And we had already this topic. So, and this is all over. It's always the same question: are you committed or interested? And like Jan-Mark said, you will fail all over the things. The difference is what you make out of that. Like, if you have lemons, what do you make out of that? Like, do you make lemonade?
Tequila.
This is another good point. Totally different perspective. And margaritas, whatever. But, like, you have to, the difference is, are you focusing on the main goal and to achieve that and hold yourself accountable? And this is a great point if you really want to do something and you have a lack of focus or you have a lack of commitment for yourself. And this is like the most difficult thing, is to have a contract with yourself and hold yourself on. Because, to be honest, the first appointments, what I delete out of my agenda when I have when I'm struggling with the time, is my time with me, for sports, for meditation, for mind feeding, something like that. What takes more time that you see the results. I'm motivated more for the short-term things than for the long-term things, and I know it's better for me to have this, but at the moment it's not the most important thing right now because I have to function. I know it's like a lot of people as well with like meditation coaches or like your health is turning into wealth. I know that, but sometimes, and if you run multiple companies, like, you cannot put your health on the priority in order to get what you want.
Well, I mean, just to interrupt, because
of course,
I
Go
think
ahead.
that is no, because we are putting our health on a priority. That's why mostly we're living we are living vegan with no oil.
Weeks. But look at the last 4 years. We did not put our health into the priority.
That is true, but
especially the first 2 years, not.
But I think this is also temporary. Like, you have temporary priorities.
Of course. Like, this is, I'm not saying forever, but at the moment, I'm saying, like, you cannot always, like, of course you can put your health always as your priority, and if you make a business out of it, even better, because then you have both in place. In our case, like, we decided, like, we are not in the health industry, so we did not focus on the health so much. For us, it was like we worked like as long as we could each day, because like in the beginning our son was really young or not born, so we really used this time as long as he was easy to handle, and worked our butt off, to be honest.
Day and night.
And it's not stopping, it's just like it's getting less but naturally, because like our son needs more time. But this is not the point. Like, what I wanted to point out here, because you said it before, that you have to focus on the things, and then you focus on the success at the end. For the focus, it's really needed that you have a good accountability partner. We have weekly accountability sessions, and we do weekly masterminds as well for our investors. They are able to join and to attend and to get better on a weekly base. we get coaching, and of course we talk to people. They already went our way, and have already like this success what we want to have, in order to make sure that we stick to the focused goal. Okay, and but on the other side, like, let's go back to this like marketing. Like, do you have an example maybe in mind as well, like where you can use the publicity, the bad publicity, and turn it into a win for you? Because what I really want to give you here with this session today is that you just change the perspective and think about something where you say, well, okay, this is actually really a bad situation for me right now. And I don't want that you think anymore, hopefully I get somehow over it. I want that you look at it the way and say, okay, how I can make the best out of it, how I can turn it into a real win, and how can you turn the page and just like, you know, dominate instead of like just getting through the situation.
I'm not so sure on PR. I don't have something in my head, but I mean, look at if we want to stay with marketing, look at social media marketing. I mean, we have had two agencies, and at the end both didn't deliver the results that they promised. And so it is at the end. I mean, we failed big on the marketing, so it forced us basically to adapt the system. And basically, what we tried before the pandemic is with the ads and the events and everything to basically run it, and we weren't able to figure that model out to make it really profitable and put it somewhere where we can scale it. Okay, for whatever reason. I mean, it had, if we look back, it had multiple reasons, not only the marketing. But now with the pandemic, the new model which we changed and everything, except for that we don't have like a typical online funnel with ads and everything and selling the products and stuff like that, all the rest of our business changed, and our investors have a much better ROI. They spend much less time on trying to figure things out. We are able to spend more time with our investors if they want to through our Platinum Investors Club. We have regular exchanges, so at the end our investors make more money, we make more money. We were able to launch a project where we are acquiring small German companies. We were able to found a fix and flip company together with partners, where we are right now acquiring the first project. So all of this would have not been possible if we wouldn't have failed on the model before, because what the model before would not be able to sustain what we're doing now. So I think we failed on the marketing, and then we failed on making that scalable. The pandemic put an end to it because we couldn't run any events to it. We were forced to change the business model, which we did. And the first iteration and everything wasn't really good. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't great. And then we had, through 1 year of adaptation, trial, error, and failing and adapting and fine-tuning the process, we have it now down to something that is scalable. And that's the result. So the result now is great, but the result came out of not only one failure but multiple failures.
That's true, and this is totally normal if you start a business, that you have to, it's trial and error. Like marketing is nothing else than trial and error, and until you find your way through, and it's changing on a daily basis, and especially the algorithm is daily changing on a small scale, and like every day a little bit, and then once you realize actually the algorithm is changing or was changing. And I think this is like only the business side, but this is as well like if you do sports or if you like in your personal life, you know, there's you will have relationships and maybe as friendships where you say, well, okay, that was a big mistake. But at the end, every situation and every even every bad situation makes you to the person you are today. And the question is, what are you making out of it now? How can you turn this into a win? And with this, actually, I want to end as well this episode tonight because, to be honest, like, of course, we could focus on the failures and we could focus on the bad situations, but it will not bring us forward. And as you know, like our topic for this podcast is grab life by the horns. And this is why we want you to realize that you have to change your perspective and make, like, we want you, that doesn't matter how bad the situation is, like, turn the page and make the biggest win out of it. And with this mindset, it's way easier to have an amazing life, and you will have fun, you will love your life, and you will be successful. And this is what we wish for you. And we want to become and to live the best life you can, and to become the best version of yourself, what's possible. And with this, we leave you for this time. Looking forward to listen to you, like to hear you or to talk to you next week. And with this, so have a great day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. Okay, have a great time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Do you want to get paid? Introducing Legacy Builders Global, where everybody gets paid. We don't create investors. We create legacy builders. Legacy Builders Global. Visit us at www.legacybuildersglobal.com.